Here we go. You may have seen the video over the weekend. We have this from the Daily Mail. Los Angeles Nike store robbed as shoplifters hit Topanga Nordstrom again. The latest in a troubling string of violent smash and grab incidents. There's a video going around. Nordstrom ransacked for $100,000 worth of merchandise. They're not even covering their faces anymore. I saw a video of guys robbing a supermarket. They didn't even wear a mask. Just it's three dudes. They walk in, they grab up, they fill up their car, walk out, go to the car and start filling it up while a guy films them. There's a video of a woman stealing from a store. She just throws it in her car, jumps in her car, speeds off. Mm-hmm. This is what people don't get. Civil war, or I should say revolution, or social breakdown in many countries, especially the ones that I've seen. It is not like a bunch of people go outside, stand in front of a podium and say, "We the people of the Continental Liberty faction hereby proclaim." It's like a group of people run through a building, smashing up things and setting fires for no reason. Mm-hmm. And then in the chaos, people start to seize power, power shifts. You get a bunch of people looting and smashing. And then when this spreads too far and it spreads to political areas, the system breaks down. When you've got these smash and grabs going on at this Nordstrom, apparently it happened again. You know, I don't know if you guys have seen the video. Look at this guy just filling up his bags, being like, ain't nothing you can do about it. Cops aren't going to do anything about it.
Well, and if he were to get caught, he'd get released. It's California, right?
Now, what happens to, what does a regular person think? Run-of-the-mill, law-abiding citizen says, what's the purpose of money?
Why am I following these rules? Like, why am I?
I don't think they say that. I think they're terrified that if they, right now, the story is a man rapes a woman on a train in Philadelphia. And the question is, why didn't anyone save her? Well, because if you tried to, you go to prison. Like when that dude in New York stopped that guy threatening to kill people. They charge him with a crime. So now people are thinking, if you follow the law, you go to jail. If you try to protect yourself, you go to jail. And you don't need money to buy anything because criminals don't go to jail. I think more and more people are just going to say, these are the new rules.
That's what seems like is happening.
That's exactly what it is.
And they're going to live in fear, right? Like you guys had a different reaction than I did. I would say, why would I still live here? Why would I go to this Nordstrom if this is what's happening?
I don't think they live in fear.
Before the show, I was reading the story about the 76-year-old who got stabbed when he on the New York subway platform. I think this was today because he refused to give a panhandler money. I mean, I think as social order breaks down, people become more conscious of the fact that like your safety is not guaranteed, which of course you should always be careful. On the other hand, the increased number of stabbings on New York City public transit is concerning, right?
Did you see the video of there's two black guys holding an Asian guy? One black guy's holding the Asian guy so he can't move with his arms locked, while the other guy just winds up and smacks him in the face over and over again. People just walk by.
Someone just videoed it? I don't understand.
People just watched and filmed and they didn't do anything about it. It was a Stop Asian Hate thing, like that was going viral.
Being Asian in New York actually seems terrifying, honestly. I feel like I see videos of Asian guys and old Asian people getting just hauled off and just wrecked by black guys up there. It's crazy. I'll say also with this whole LA $100,000 thing, I wouldn't be shocked at all if this is organized. Like, I think there's some criminal people out there right now that see that people don't get in trouble for stealing this stuff, and they go out there and they organize large groups of people to go steal this stuff.
Well, that would be a mafia.
Flash mob ever.
That would be a mafia then, and maybe there is a new mafia that's created of just young people that are stealing and coordinating theft. That would be a new mafia. Then that would require gangs, federal attention. Yeah, these gangs. Exactly. Yeah.
We're too busy.
So I'll issue a clarification on this story. The viral video that was going around, because I just Google searched it. So apparently the guy beating the guy being held claims the Asian man he was beating was groping women.
So great. I love the destruction, the collapse of society.
That's all. I mean,
you know what I mean, though? Like, if that's true, then we have this random guy groping women on a public subway platform. And if
then
not,
two guys get engaging in vigilante justice to try and stop him from doing it. If that's even true.
If that's not true, then it's just like two guys beating up this other guy. Like, either one, not great for society. Does not make me want to take the subway in New York.
And this is why people just they tune out. They don't want to look at like stuff like this. Like, this is so complicated. Like, we have no idea what really happened here. Like, these guys might have just hauled off and attacked this dude. That happens all the time in New York. This guy might have been groping women. That happens all the time in New York. Why am I, the farmer from Kansas, going to give, a rat's butt about this thing?
This is a good example of the problem with why people don't help anyone. I just said a guy rapes a woman on a subway cart in Philadelphia. Why doesn't anyone help? Because you pull the guy off, you stop him from doing it. Now you're on camera beating up some guy, and they're going to arrest you, charge you, and everyone's going to say they hate you for doing it. Mm-hmm. Just like, so earlier today, my friend is watching the video and he goes, look at this. and I passively see it and I go, wow, I don't even know what's going on. And so I bring it up here on the show. I look it up and I'm like, the claim they made is that he was trying to sexually assault a woman. So they grabbed him, pulled him off, and then smacked him around. Here's my issue with it. You stop him from doing it. Then you stand in a subway cart after you've stopped it, keep his arms locked, and then slap him repeatedly is still not a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I know you say this all the time, but it like makes you want to leave cities. Like if this is what's happening, you want to be far away from people, which I don't advocate for an antisocial society. Right? I think community is actually important, but this is not community. Again, you want to give credit if someone is doing something like stopping someone else from assaulting a woman. On the other hand, do we even know what happened? We can't even trust anything we hear because we're so used to a warped media. It's kind of depressing, honestly. You just don't know where to turn to.
Wow. I mean, so in the video, they've got him pinned. They've got him held back. You can see this. They're holding him so he can't move. Then one dude knocks him out, slaps him in the head, knocking him out. Then the other guy starts punching him in the head several times.
Oh, well, they went way too far. Don't care what he was doing. You knocked him out and then you beat his head on the ground? Like, what the hell?
I'll tell you this. This is what happens in societal breakdown. You get a story of a guy raping a woman on a train and no one does anything. And then you get guys like this who see a guy going after women and then they beat the crap out of him. It's like I was saying with I bring it up all the time with V for Vendetta, when the inspector says eventually someone will do something stupid. And it shows the finger man, the cop, shoot the little girl. And then all of the locals walk up to him with bats and crowbars. And then it's heavily implied they beat him to death.
I don't like vengeance. And when I asked on Twitter, I was like, okay, just ask him for a friend. Is Jesus Christ into vengeance? Just ask him for 8 billion people. And a lot of the Christians, I want the Christians to say out loud, was Christ your savior into vengeance? Does he suggest you create vengeance on your foe? And people are like, no, God does, but not Jesus. But some people say Jesus is God. So yes, it was very confusing. But then there's the question of what's the difference between vengeance and justice? Like, obviously, if someone commits a horrific crime, there should be justice. But justice doesn't always imply punishment. So I don't know. I don't think revenge and seeking out after the threat has been neutralized to go make your emotions on that guy, like that just doesn't. I do not. That is a repetitive cycle that will grind us into the dust. So we've got to be careful not to fall into it.
I think it's all breaking down. This is what happens during the breakdown.
Yeah, I think so too.
And then eventually people don't feel safe on the subway trains. Eventually things are going to get a bit worse than this. We had the video of the guys in Stockton beating the guy with a stick. Now that guy, we know for sure on camera, threatened to kill the store clerks. And so they grabbed him and then started attacking him. What do you do to subdue a guy he pulled out some kind of weapon? I don't know.
Did he have a knife or something?
Looked
right?
like it had a knife.
Yeah.
And that kills you. One knife to the chest, you die. And so they start hitting him and all they had was a stick. And then the guy just cried. And then there's more photos, I guess body camera footage showing the guy on the ground just being like, they stopped eventually. The cops came and got him. They announced they would not be charging these guys. But I wonder if this can reverse itself in the sense that a culture starts to emerge where people will just say, we don't care what happens. The cops are going to have to deal with it, and they'll start attacking the criminals.
Well, there's so much stuff going on. New York's so big, like a place like this. You're so desensitized with the internet. I think all you can really do is like those guys. Just be with yourself, protect yourself. Make sure you're ready. Make sure you can protect your family. Make sure you can protect those around you that you care about. Because we're getting to the point, and that's, I guess, that is the destruction of a community. Because you only care about the singular in that scenario. But all you can really do out here these days, especially like I live in D.C., people are crazy. Like that guy from Rand Paul staffer got stabbed. I don't know if you guys have seen that video.
Yeah.
That's crazy. He was just walking down the street
In
and
the
out of
middle of
nowhere
the day,
the guy just
right?
and just stabbed him.
For no reason.
There was, I can't remember which congresswoman it was, who a guy followed her into her apartment elevator and like she threw coffee on him and like he was sort of attacking her. Like this stuff is happening all the time. And of course we hear about it more when we're connected. People are connected to someone in the public space. But can you imagine just being one of the run-of-the-mill people who gets attacked on the street? You have to make a report to the cops and cops are like, I know, crazy, right? People are getting stabbed all the time.
Yeah, we were just watching before the show footage from the Rodney King riots in Los Angeles, and it was like Asian store owners just walking outside and shooting at random Korean. Thank you. Shooting at random people or people that they thought were threatening their store. I don't know if those people ever got arrested and charged, but we're in the age now of social media, so we've got this technocratic oversight that's like it seems like it's trying to criminalize self-defense. Like Daniel Penny apparently choked out some bum that was threatening to kill or hurt a bunch of people on a train, so he choked him out, and then he got arrested for it. Like he defended those people and then he's the one that got in trouble. That wouldn't have happened in the early 90s. That didn't happen in the 80s when we didn't have social media where people get to sit and think for like a week, watch the video over and over. Should we go after that guy? Should we go? Should we? Should we?
They mentioned on Wikipedia that no rioters were fatally shot by any of the Korean volunteers. The interesting thing is they point out that because South Korea has a 2-year mandatory military service, all these guys had firearms experience.
So they were warding them off with their warning shots, but they were firing. You know,
It's probably
shots. They were
safer
just
then,
pointing and
though,
shooting at
right?
people.
Like they have experience handling a gun. They're not someone who just bought a gun because they're scared and they don't know how to use it.
you could argue that wasn't even. I mean, that wasn't even self-defense at that point.
Why?
Because
They're
there was
defending their store.
maybe, but I didn't. The people weren't near the store that they were shooting at. I didn't see any people on camera. It was just dudes out in front shooting like in different around. Not so much the point. The point is this technocratic march towards communism is making us look at ourselves hypercritically and criminalize self-defense. We got to stop doing that to ourselves. We have to let self-defense reign. You need to be able to defend yourself in your community or the community will fall. You have to do that.
I think it's interesting what you said, how we watched that clip hundreds of times over and over again, because if you've been in like a fight before or any kind of like physical altercation, it's quick. It's not like you're sitting there and you're deciding your next move like you're Sherlock Holmes in that movie. Like you're trying to sit there and you're surviving and you're reacting. And so people like, they gauge like, oh, I wouldn't have choked him for that long. I was like, well, I'm holding on to that guy for dear life, you know, like and
You're
stuff
right.
like that.
You have no idea what you
He
can
could
do.
get up and kill you.
Yeah.
That's the thing about the guy, the Sikhs in Stockton who are beating the guy with the stick. And there are some people being like, yeah, but they kept going and he was begging and crying. And it's like, and he could kill them. He pulled some kind of weapon and threatened them with death. And he had threatened to shoot them in the past. That was reported in previous stories.
And they're not trained. It's not like they're police officers. It's not like they're jujitsu fighters on the ground to go wrestle this guy's knife away. Like they're trying to.
Have you seen the video of the guy who executes, I think it was a 7-Eleven clerk?
Yeah.
He walks behind the counter, is pointing the gun at him. The guy's on his knees, just with his hands up. The guy opens the register, takes the money, looks at him, shoots him in the head, and then grabs the money, just walks out casually. And so we build this system where we're supposed to tell victims, just sit there and hope you don't die, but you might. That's insane.
Didn't some, maybe it was a different clerk in like New York or 7-Eleven, didn't he stab someone or shoot somebody that came into the store that was attacking him?
stabbed,
And they
and then
put
he
him in
locked him
jail.
up.
Right? Yeah, that's
right.
insane.
What was that story? A guy.
A woman got mad because the potato chips cost too much money or something like that. Told her boyfriend. The boyfriend came in, started hitting the store clerk, and she pulls out a knife. They fight. He grabs the knife from her, stabs the guy who was beating him. The guy, I guess he died. Is that what happened? Or no, he went to the. He didn't die. I don't think.
I don't know if he might
But
have killed him.
they arrested the store clerk and sent him to Rikers.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And then
for
only
what? For murder?
for
homicide?
assault or something. And then only after major outcry did he get released.
Yeah, those guys with the stick could easily, and like if they're in the wrong place, wrong time, wrong DA, like we're talking about the Trump stuff right now, I guess that kind of comes
Or
back.
if no one caught it on video, right? Like there are people who are in the right to defend themselves who don't get the kind of public outcry that guy got. You're dependent on someone else advocating for you, which is crazy.
It feels so obvious. I don't know if this is true. It feels like foreign governments and foreign corporations, I'm talking about the World Economic Forum, I'm talking about the CCP, God knows the Russian governments involved, are trying to get the United States to fail. They want us to hurt each other and to die, and they would love for us to criminalize our own defensive capabilities. So why would you let that happen? Why? Think about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. I think people do want to see America fail, and that's why people have to be conscious of what's going on around them.
I don't know how to help. I don't know how to help besides making some grand sacrifice.
Well, all you can do is like work on in your small community where your friends are, like, and try to make sure that they're safe, they're healthy, they're working hard, they have a good avenue to get out of this stuff. And I think about, like, I used to be a little bit more like, what are we going to do? Full rebel? Like that's not gonna work out. Like maybe it does. Maybe we have to do it. Maybe that's what ultimately is going to happen. But what you can focus on when stuff is going on like this is make sure you're armed, make sure you're healthy, make sure you have a good food supply. Like make sure you know how to farm, you know how to hunt. That's one. I have friends that have never held a gun. Like I've never shot a gun before. Like, what if it all does go bad and we have to start hunting and fishing and stuff like that? At least I was raised that way because I'm from the South. Like, I can't imagine some of these Yankee guys up in New York. Like, what are they gonna do? Like, can't go to the gazebo up there, you know?
True. Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing that they can. I mean, you make a lifestyle choice when you are choosing to live in certain cities and certain states, and I get that, but I think there's a lack of long-term thinking. You know, I think right now people are thinking, well, New York City is beautiful and great. And there are lots of wonderful things about cities in the country, cities across the country. It's just the state of them right now. You have to be conscious of the choice that you're making if you're what you're choosing to live in.
Yeah, we've been living too fat for too long, I think, too. I think that's part of it. America's been on top for too long.
Yeah.
We're getting soft. We don't have to do the conflicts. I know that not that many people have fought, like you were saying earlier, in those battles, and like I guess that so people will say maybe not everybody fought back then, but I think that we had some hard choices that we haven't had to have in a while, and we're facing the repercussions.
Yeah, we need to prepare for war, every one of us, and that's so it doesn't happen. We need to know how to fire a gun. We need to know. We're on a kid-friendly show right now.
Ian started working out for this music video, and he's getting more and more conservative.
that study was right.
I was watching videos about on the ancient Romans and how they would conquer Capua, for instance, their southern neighbors. There was a bunch of farmers. They didn't know how to fight because they lived their whole lives as just farmers living off the land. And then when the mountain men came in, they knew how to fight, and they were the ones that took the land. So if we don't know how to fight, we're basically these fat farmers waiting to be taken. Yep. And it's not like that stuff doesn't happen anymore. It's not like there aren't hardened warriors out there that want our stuff. We need to be prepared.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.